As the story of the Mississippi 18-year-old has gained massive traction on social media, Public Safety Commissioner Sean Tindall is clearing false reports. The commissioner took to social media to say, quote, "The purported toxicology report from Nolan Wells is circulating through social media on various outlets is fraudulent. Nolan's family, friends, and most importantly, Nolan himself deserve better. Fraudsters, AI, and social media are a recipe for disaster. All they want you to do is click and share. Don't."
I think it's one of the dangers that we face in the modern world where, evidence gets out into the public realm and it can be, and I'm not saying this was manipulated, but audio can certainly be manipulated, pictures can be manipulated, video can be manipulated and rather easily. And so, I think it's something that we have to keep in mind these days.
Tindall also says the evidence will reveal the facts, adding that digital forensics professionals regularly analyze this type of information and should be allowed to examine it.
So there you go. There's a warning. And then I mentioned earlier about the mother of Nolan Wells responding to some of the things that are out there, some of the things that people are saying, even some of the fake reports. Even the smearing of her son, because no matter what happens, look, no one deserved to die. We've been saying that all along, no matter what happens.
That's right. And let me just say something, Don. If you out there and you're coming after this grieving mother, you are evil, you are sinful, and you are an abomination. It is abomination before God to talk badly about this mother, to talk badly about Nolan Wells, okay? It's sick and it's deranged, and stop it right now. Y'all got so much to worry about that. Don't go out here putting out fake reports on Nolan and talking bad about a dead black boy that cannot even defend himself, Brandon Tatum and the rest of y'all. Okay, I know y'all are behind this.
Here's the mom in an exclusive interview on this very show on Friday morning.
We've seen this before, right? Pattern recognition. We've seen this where things have happened, especially when we talk about the Black community. And, after the death, it's a smear campaign. It's, what can we find out about this person? What can we say? And, that's something, my family and I, especially my husband and I, we definitely do not appreciate. But, we can't fight everyone that wants to have an opinion. But also, too, it's part of society that has been allowed to occur, which is it's gut-wrenching at best. Because if you were in our situation, how would you feel if there were millions of people who are saying, oh, hey, well, he was at an island, he was heavily drunk. And again, even with the drinking, there are so many
He's a child. Who was giving him the alcohol? How did he get alcohol? Was it Bart giving him? I want whoever gave Nolan the alcohol, I want their butt in prison. Press 2 if you with me. Whoever gave Nolan, a child, 18, an alcohol beverage, I want their butt in prison, if that is true. But how do y'all know it's true? You don't know it's true. You don't have any facts that he was drinking. You're just taking what the white boys are saying, and they're suspect. And they can lie. Y'all don't believe Katie. Katie came out here and said Nolan was getting back on a boat with the white boys. But do you believe Katie? No, but you believe the white boys. Why? They didn't show you no proof that he was drinking. Usually they take photos of each other drinking, right? They take videos, but yet ain't no videos, ain't no photos of Nolan drinking. This stuff is all made up and lies. I don't think Nolan was drinking. He was not drinking. They are making this up because they are trying to pin it on him. They are trying to say Nolan did this to himself so they can get away with murder. Okay, no way. Even say, for instance, let's believe their lie. Even if Nolan was drinking, who goes out on a platform and defames their friend or their family member talking about, yeah, they was drinking that day. Yeah, that's what they were doing. It sounds like you're trying to paint Nolan as a horrible person and you're trying to paint Nolan like he did it to himself. And I believe the higher ups is working with the white boys and telling them what to say. That's what I believe.
stories, only because I have spoken with adults who knew Nolan very well, coaches that were out there. One in particular, I think he told me he saw Nolan somewhere between.
Where is the photo? Somebody said it's photos of Nolan with cans of vodka drinks in his hand. Is that true, y'all? Because I didn't see those photos with Nolan with alcoholic vodka drink in Nolan's hand. Press 1 if y'all seen it. Press 9 if you have not seen it. They had 2 pictures of him drinking. Drinking alcohol? Where is the pictures at? And are you sure it's not AI? How you know it's not AI? I haven't seen those pictures. So show me the pictures because I don't believe it. And how do you know it's not AI? Okay? I need to see this because y'all are lying. Y'all are liars.
Like 2:45 and 3:30. He was like, Christine, yeah, we talked for a while. We talked about college. We talked about his life, his plans. And he was like, he was perfectly fine. Because I think it had bothered him too that there was this narrative of, oh, he was sloppy drunk. Like and it started at the very.
All right. So Royal D said that Nolan had a can in his hand. What was a can? Was it alcohol? What was the can in his hand? Okay, what was the can?
Beginning. It was, oh, he was sloppy drunk. I'm like, but was he though? Or is this a narrative that you guys want to use to kind of have us just accept that it was a drowning?
So that was the mom last week. Now, let me get to the threats that have been made against people and some of the false. When I tell people to slow your roll, and that's for some of you too, posting stuff online, and especially for some of the content creators. When you're posting stuff online and you're giving reports, you don't know exactly what's real and what's not. Now, according to a report last week, one of the young men who was involved or who was there, his parents said that they've retained an attorney for a false report that is online. And also the threats. I mentioned the threats that have been made even to a member of our staff. The threat.
Ooh, y'all threatening people. It's sad. It ain't nothing but the MAGA people. But look at this. Look. Let's go here. Okay, damn. I'm trying to get the picture in here. Hold on, let me get this picture.
That have been made to people who are involved in this story or in this case. And here's a report on what has happened now because people are actually being arrested. Roll it.
Due to speculation and tension growing nationwide,
Let's see. Let me share screen. All right, so this is a picture. Are you talking about this picture? Okay, you see Nolan is holding some type of can, but you don't know what that can is. And you remember you don't like when people speculate. So you cannot speculate that Nolan have any type of alcohol that he's drinking because you don't know what that can is. Can y'all tell me what that can he's holding? No, you can't. But I can see them white boys with them goddamn cans. But I don't know what Nolan can is. I don't know. It could be a Coca-Cola. It could be a Sprite. It could be anything. You cannot speculate. Just like y'all said, stop speculating. It's no proof in this photo that Nolan was drinking alcohol. What proof do you see? You don't see no label that Nolan have. You see them white boys drinking alcohol. I have drunk soda with cans with my friends or associates and they had alcohol, but it was no alcohol. I wasn't drinking no alcohol. So you cannot speculate. Then y'all get on people about speculation and here y'all doing it. That's not gonna fly, baby. Just because the white boys do it don't mean that Nolan was doing it. You don't got no proof, boo. Like I said, ain't no damn proof. Ain't no photos out there with Nolan drinking. So just stop with the lies. All y'all do is lie.
Enforcement agencies have been monitoring threats made to several parties involved in the investigation. Now, an arrest has been made. According to court documents, Joseph Alfredo Vasquez Dumars is in custody.
Okay, what? Someone says, yes, can have been blurred out. The can has not been blurred out. You don't even see the can. You're a liar. Why don't you want to admit that he was drinking? Because you don't have any proof. You don't have any facts. And Nolan is not here to say he was drinking. So, no, you're going off a hearsay and you're going off of a picture you really can't even see. That's not going to fly, baby. Okay? What's the big deal? The big deal is he's underage and they should not be drinking. He's an 18-year-old college student. Everybody drank when they were 18 in college. That's a damn lie. There you go lying again. When I was 18 in college, I've never drunk. I never drunk a day in my life. I never did drugs in a day in my life. So that is lies. That's what you and your people do. They drink and they do drugs and they do all this type of stuff when they're 18 in college. I have never done that, and I'm an African American. I'm an African American, and when I was 18, I've never did any drinking. Okay, so stop with the lies. Stop with the lies. Talking about some everybody. Whew. All right, let me get back here.
For an alleged death threat sent to Jackson County Chancery Judge Ashley Cole, the stepmother of one of the friends who traveled to Horn Island on July 4th with Nolan Wells. According to court documents, Dumars sent a direct message on Facebook referencing a package being sent to Cole's office, reading, "It's gonna blow you away when you see it."
The threats that are going out there from various people, that has to stop. I mean, it's just absolutely unacceptable. We're better than that in Mississippi. We're better than that on the coast. And we're better than that as a society. And that's what I'm most disappointed about, is the viral discussion.
The viral debate, Tyndall says, means investigators have an added obstacle while hearing from witnesses.
So we have to make sure that we have a good, solid investigation. And we also want to make sure that witnesses that we're going to, that we're getting their impressions of what happened, not just based on what they see or hear on social media. So I think it has a real detrimental effect when people start particularly putting out misinformation on public venues and on the internet. And
Tyndall says that with the circulation of misinformation, he encourages people to direct their eyes to what's happening locally.
If you're trying to find that information, talk to the people that were on Island that day. Talk to the people that live down here that go out there regularly. That's where, if there's anything that happened, those are the people that are going to have knowledge of what it is. And we need to be asking those questions down here, not across the country.
And yes, need to be answering those questions down there, not across the country. Well, but people across the country are interested. I'm not sure if that is necessary. I don't believe that.
All right. So looking at my chat, people are saying Brenda, and Brenda is an African-American woman. She said, not everybody drink at 18 and never had no alcohol or drugs. Yeah, all black people, we don't do that shit. You know what I'm saying? I was raised by Christian parents, okay? Christian conservative parents. So no. And Brenda, she's black and she don't do it either. So you must be talking about your people. All your people do that, okay? So yeah, say all your people because you don't know about us, honey. And then his ass gonna say he's a European American and we don't appreciate being called liars. Well, stop lying. You up here talking about everybody have drunk when they're 18 in college. That's a lie. So if you're saying that, you're a liar. You just lied. Okay? You're saying that Nolan had pictures of him drinking alcohol. You don't have any proof of that. That's another lie. I brung up the picture. You don't see Nolan with alcohol in his hand. You see him with the can. You cannot make out what the can is. You see the white boys with the can of alcohol, but you don't see Nolan. So that soda can could have been a soda, juice can. You don't know. You don't have any proof. Okay? So stop with the lies. Damn. Okay? If you don't want to be called a liar, don't lie. It's just as simple as that. Whew.
I don't believe that part of it. I think that people, as I said, should slow the roll, but people should be keeping pressure on the investigators in Mississippi and keeping an eye on it because they bear watching. They bear watching. The folks in Mississippi do. Because we don't know. There are too many people that are who have high positions there. There were too many people who are reportedly scrubbing their kids' social media. Too many people lawyering up so quickly. Like there are some things. And even as I said, the things that are on that audio, from what if that audio is correct, because there was someone this weekend, I want to get it, I don't know what their credentials are, who was saying that he was skeptical of what the previous audio engineer, the original audio engineer had put out about what they were saying. And also that audio, before she even got to it, it may have been manipulated. And she said the same thing in her analysis. She goes there and she came back. I don't know if you guys remember and said, it's leading me to believe I'm hearing some things, some anomalies in this that's leading me to believe that something may have already been manipulated or this audio may have been touched already, but I don't know. But that's what my research and my experience are telling me or indicating a possibility of that.
I think it was a lot of stuff in that audio was taken out. Press 1. I believe they said a whole bunch of stuff in that audio and they scraped it out and they did their best they could and they just said here. But I believe if we saw the real audio, we would have heard everything. We probably would have heard Nolan. We probably would have heard everything. Every single thing we probably would have heard more of. I just say that.
Like you guys, I'm sure you guys remember that. So that's a concern. Benjamin Crump is also speaking out about some of the things, even the audio portion of it. But first, I need to get a word in from our sponsors, okay? Because we know what every business owner does.
When you make that conclusion without doing no investigations, and so what they want is a full, impartial, fair investigation into what happened to Nolan Wells. In our community, we see people investigated very zealously. And so we want the same thing for our children. We want them to zealously investigate this matter, just as if they would if the roles were reversed.
Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think anyone you can't argue that. I don't care what you think about Benjamin Crump, whether you like him, whether you don't, whatever. You can't argue that. You can't argue with a mother who wants.
That's right. You can't argue that. Okay, and this white man in my comments, and the white man gonna say, cover up what? An accidental drowning? Yes. Look back in 1955. Look back in all the history of Mississippi. They have covered up killings that they have unalived black people, and they say it was a drowning. They say it was accidental when it was definitely a murder. They do it all the time, even with the government. Ask Candace Owens. She'll tell you that what they doing with that Charlie Kirk shit, all of that shit is a cover-up. They do a lot of cover-ups in America when it comes to killing, okay? So I don't know what's going on with you. I am not a man. Well, you look like a man in your picture. Your picture look like a man. Take that man photo off and put a woman on there. Shit, how else were I supposed to know? Okay. Whew.
To know what happened to her kid. She just wants to know what happened to her kid. Imagine if your mother or a mother that you know, or your wife, or you, imagine if it was your child, your husband, whoever it is, you would want to know. Someone said that we have been putting up with this bullshiggity for trying to make sense of bullshiggity for 400 years. And that is true. Someone in the comments, I saw that. And then someone in the comments says, Don, valid points. Maybe you can revisit what facts we know for sure. Number one, they didn't give a damn about well-being of Nolan, regardless of the cause of death. Life's Journey says that. Thank you for your support. That is a very valid point. Also, here's what Laura Lupinetti says. People still have different opinions about O.J. Simpson. 100%. They do.
All right. Well, I'm going to fast forward to see if Don is talking about something else. All right. So he's bringing his friend in.
All five others had no really idea of Nolan's case of the intricacies around Nolan, or even enough to speak to say, hey, yeah, I'm really sorry that a young man lost his life. And so I thought about that in contrast with not only the coverage that Gabby Petito got in the early days that when she went missing, no one knew what had happened to her, but then also obviously after her death, because as you mentioned, that not just that Florida Gabby Petito Act passed, but there was a Help Find the Missing Act, also known as Billy's Law, that also passed at the federal level after Gabby Petito's death. And so lawmakers came out talking about her death, the tragedy of it. They knew the intricacies of her case. Nolan, we're coming up on a month where Nolan has been found. He died. We still don't know how he died. We assume it's drowning. But again, the state autopsy was just completed on Friday. That information may not even go to Nolan's family this week.
Why would you assume he drowned? Why would you make that assumption just because his ass in the water? A whole bunch of bodies is thrown in the water don't mean they drowned. Who thinks he's drowning? Press 1 if you think he drowned. Press 5 if you know he did not drown. Isn't that jumping to assumptions? Press 15 if that's jumping to assumptions. I see a man face down in the water, and I just assume he drowned. Ain't that, you don't know, you didn't investigate. So you can't say he drowned. You get on us about making assumptions, but it's okay for y'all monkey ass to make assumptions. See, that's why I don't respect you. I don't respect y'all at all. Hell, investigate first, stop making assumptions. A lot of bodies is thrown in the water and they did not drown. They was already dead before they hit the damn water. So just because you find a body in the water don't mean they drown. You have to do investigation. Damn.
Well, I believe you mentioned it, Don, but I know his mother was on the show on Friday and said there's the possibility that could just go to the grand jury, not even to the family, because if there is a case that's going to happen, the family is not even going to see the autopsy. It's going to go straight to a grand jury. So I just contrasting those cases and the fact that lawmakers don't know about it. And if lawmakers don't know, that means probably a lot of the general public doesn't know about Nolan's case.
Thank you, Daniel. Very good information. And Daniel, I mentioned you and all the other things. You said I was preaching a sermon this morning. Did you agree or disagree on?
Listen, you said everything I have been saying from the start. And in fact, Don, I just don't know why it's crazy to say, let's wait for the investigation and for the...
Well, you know why? Because y'all keep on saying a drowning. You just said we assume it's a drowning. So keep your same energy and wait for the damn facts. Don't come out here talking about no foul play. Don't come out here talking about an accidental drowning. Just say, I need to investigate and wait on the damn facts. That's what you do. We don't know. We don't know if he was murdered. We don't know nothing. We got to investigate. Y'all started this shit when y'all started assuming, and then other people started assuming. You started this shit, and now you're mad that other people are doing the same thing you doing. They just don't agree with you. That's all this is. It's control. Y'all comment, let me know how I did, and I'm out of here. I see y'all on next go round.